Greetings. Would you like to change your life without having to do a bunch of push-ups and going to the gym every morning at 5 a.m.? I for one, don't want to go up at 5 a.m. in the morning every day to go to the gym. But one thing I can do is I can sit home in my pajamas and I can write in a journal. So I'm going to give you 7 reasons why journaling is going to change your life for the better. And it doesn't cost nearly as much as that gym membership. Number 1, it helps answer your own problems. So many times we always look for some external source. You're scrolling through YouTube and you try to figure out, how to answer a problem. And a lot of the more deeper psychological issues that you have, even if you go to a psychologist, right? It's going to be a lot less expensive to pick up a pen and paper and just start writing out your issues and writing and working through your problems, right? Trying to go through somebody else is not going to always solve the issue. Sometimes the answer's within you. In the words of Winnie the Pooh, you know more than you think. Number 2, it helps keep you accountable. Now I suggest having a bound book, right? Reason I say a bound book is because if you think your thoughts are trash worthy and you keep throwing them out and discarding them, you're going to never hold on to them. And if you want to write with resolve, right, I'm going to do this with my life and I'm going to change it, you need to write down somewhere that you're actually going to commit to it. That your grandchildren will open up your journal and say, back in 1999 it said, or 2018 it said you were going to quit smoking. You died from smoking, you idiot. Right? So just keep that in mind, right? That, it holds you accountable, but also, in a very indirect sense, you are not only the character in the book that's writing it, but you're also the narrator. So you have a way to reflect back on your own personal life. That, you can look back and say, yes, I said this yesterday, and am I holding myself to that word, right? Or, oh shoot, I was supposed to keep track of this and I'm not keeping track of it. And you can also see how far you've come, right? So you might be in a really dark place when you're starting to write, and then you slowly see yourself transform, and it kind of gives yourself a perspective on where you need to go. Number 3, it keeps you focused on producing what you want in your life, not on what you don't want in your life. I'll give you this example. A lot of people have books in their heads, right? Ideas that they'd like to implement into a book format. Tons of people, right? Millions of people want to make books. The problem is only a few of them will actually do it. The difference between people that don't do it and people that do it, one of the key differences is that somebody actually starts writing the damn book, right? And in the same way with any idea in general, there are a million ideas like a million headaches. The difference between successful people and not successful people is that somebody actually started to lay out those plans. It's like building a house. If you're building a house and you don't have any plans laid out, and you're just laying bricks, it's not going to work, right? You have to draw out those plans. And at least, if you want to start actually building and not just be an idea in your head, you have to lay out the plans first. And what journaling does is it provides an opportunity to lay out those plans for you and build that reality. I want you to think for a second about the word about spelling. Spelling is an interesting word. When you spell something out, I want you to think kind of like a witch would cast a spell on you. Not necessarily in the sense that you're doing witchcraft, but it's this idea of so it is written, so it is done. And when you write something down, you're casting a spell onto the page, right? You're making a fictional character come into existence. And you are, in some sense, faking it till you make it, right? You are encapsulating an idea, you're building on that idea to the point that it actually arises and comes into reality, right? And it's not anything esoteric, it's really pragmatic, right? In order for you to make something happen, you have to build the idea, right? It's the equivalent of a business plan to make that idea happen. And journaling does that for you. Number 4, it gives your thoughts a chance to be thought through before disregarding them. Journaling gives you a platform just like an actor needs a stage, right? You can think about an idea in the shower or wherever else, or sing in the shower if you're an actor, but until you actually get up on the stage and you do it, it's not going to exist. And you need a place for your ideas to exist and for them to mold and evolve and to build, right? The stage is the equivalent of a journal, right? So you're giving yourself an audience, which is yourself, and you're interacting with that audience and you're working through the idea, right? If you just leave the idea in your head, it doesn't have any way to permeate and build from that. So it's really important to give yourself that platform for that thought to be fully thought out, right? And you don't just throw out ideas that are infantile in nature, right? You just don't throw your baby out to a pack of wolves. You know, you nurture it a little bit. You build it up so it's ready to deal with the realities of life, right? And I hate using this word, but writing gives you a safe place or a medium for composing your thoughts before you share it out with public, right? And you don't just say, hey, I got this really stupid idea. And that's one thing I hate about Twitter, is that with Twitter, it's like, okay, I'm Twitter pay right now, I'm going to text this, right? No. What you want to do is you want to compose your thoughts first and then put out information, right? It should actually be thought through, right? It gives yourself a filter for you to actually compose your thoughts, have them ready to go before you put them out on the big stage for everyone to see. Number 5, it helps you not repeat history. So what do I mean by repeating history? When I write something down in my journal, usually it will be something that I think is dumb or stupid or whatever else. And you know what? I don't have that thought again. You know, I don't keep thinking about that thought that I know I shouldn't be thinking about because it's already down on paper. Because I've allowed the idea to exist on paper, I then can dismiss it. It's kind of like a Zen Buddhism, right? Right? And you know, you're slowly letting go of certain parts of your body and just you're taking that part of yourself, allowing it to exist somewhere. You recognize it exists, and then you can dismiss it, right? So you're allowing that part of yourself that you don't want to exist to not exist. And the same thing goes with even your concentration. If you're not composing your thoughts somewhere, that you're maintaining them, you're not allowing that idea to exist, right? It's almost like an external hard drive to yourself, right? This is my external hard drive. This is what I go back to as a source, right? Because you have so many thoughts in your head, you need some place to put them down, right? But if you don't want to repeat history, right, and trying to maintain those 5 or 6 thoughts in your head also, you know, this is a great place to put it down, and you can actually, I don't know, build something from it. You're not just stuck in the Stone Age where, you know, you're not writing anything down, you're just living the same life over and over again. You're actually progressing yourself in the bigger realm of society. Number 6, it makes you an active learner. So, if you want to actually learn something, you have to actually go through the practice of actively learning it. It's not just a matter of picking up a book and reading it. It's a matter of, okay, you're going to take that information, you're going to put it in your own words, and you're going to compartmentalize it in your head somewhere that you can actually communicate the information out and spew it out when you need it, right? I know that sounds a lot like homework, but that's exactly the point, right? Except you're now writing about things you're interested in, or you're trying to understand, or you're trying to communicate. So, and then you're going to add your own flavor to it as well. So it's not just going to be, you know, that thought that the writer had, it's going to be your thought plus something, right? So you're actually innovating, you're not just coming up with something off the top of your head, you're taking what they're saying and then you're expanding it. And this is also extraordinarily helpful if you're just trying to get started with writing. Read a book, and when you have different thoughts or ideas, compose those thoughts or ideas into the paper, and you're actually extending your, not only your vocabulary, but also your understanding of the world. Last little tidbit, I will give you a little bit of introduction on how I do set up my journal. Now, first and foremost, one thing I do is I cut out the very front of it, this panel right here, and that way if I lose my book, somebody can easily see in the front, here's my business card, and they can easily get in contact with me. The second thing I'll do is I'll also add a table of contents, which I have as a bookmark. They can easily slide in and out of the page, and it's a tab also. That way when I close my book up, you can see the tab right here, really helpful. The third thing I do is I do the same thing, but I do it for my current work. So if I have a project or something else that I'm working on, I can put that right there without having to put it in my journal, because sometimes I'm a little bit self-conscious, and when I'm self-conscious, what ends up happening is I end up not writing anything down. So sometimes, you know, having that piece of scrap paper is also helpful. Even though I'm, you know, very much against having scrap paper, this is something a little bit more permanent, and it also helps me compose an idea and then put it down to its final format, or help in the revision process. So anyways, this is my book right here. I've probably gone through about 5 or 6 of these books so far in the past 2 years. So anyways, if you have any questions, please make sure to leave it in the comments or descriptions below. If you have any suggestions on or reasons why you journal, please make sure to add those there as well. Alright, see you guys soon. Take care. Bye. Ow! Alright.